Good evening.
Hello, Sandra. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone.
Hey, I guess we have 6 p.m. as we promised, and we may start. So welcome in our webinar about the SAFe 5.1 overview. We're really glad that you are here and you would like to spend this evening with us. So let us introduce. The company who is organizing this webinar for you is E5. It's a consultants agency which provides trainings in Agile, in project management and business analysis. We actually originally from Ukraine, but now we're all over the world and have a lot of different clients to whom we actually helped transform their approach. Let me also introduce myself. My name is Alyona Lubchak. I'm delivery manager with more than 15 years of experience with different IT projects. For past 4 years, I'm conducting Agile transformation and SAFe injections. Of course, I have a lot of experience with a variety of different products and even helped non-IT companies to implement Scrum approach, and have a lot of different certifications. So today you're going to receive information, not only the theory part, which definitely will be, but also our experience and our cases. And my colleague, Roman.
Yeah, hi guys, my name is Roman Sakharov. I'm also one of the co-founders, trainers, and consultants in our E5 consulting company. So also as well, I'm working as the director of business analysis at EPAM Systems, which is like quite a worldwide large service and outsourcing company. So with, I guess, 60,000 employees plus, and I'm heading the business analysis competency as well as helping to develop the Agile competency center. Again, in terms of the scaled Agile framework, I've also seen numerous projects implemented and worked for our clients in terms of SAFe. So hope to share some of my experience on how we did it and how we implemented and what value did we get out of the scaled Agile framework within, again, our experience. Yeah, and again, great to see you here today. And yeah, guys, if we may start, thank you everybody for joining us today. Again, we introduced ourselves. That would be great to hear also, how are you doing these days? And maybe to get acquainted a little bit. Again, why we need it? Because I think knowing you better and your current background better, we will be able to tune our webinar today a little bit more into your interests, into your current, I would say, state, you know, where you are with your knowledge on scaled Agile framework. So we would like to ask you to maybe type in into the chat of Zoom. I hope you can find it. If no, we can share it, how you can do it. Your maybe current role in your company, maybe your current location, because surely we've seen through the meetup that we are having people from various locations. And maybe if you're familiar with scaled Agile framework, maybe you already had some, you know, experience, implementation, successful, or maybe not. That would be great to hear from you as well, because again, we can use it to, again, to make a focus within our today's overview. Thank you. And while you're posting, I will be reading aloud some of your comments here. So Bjarne has commented that Scrum Master Denmark, a little familiar with scaled Agile framework, which is great. I guess, you know, Scrum Masters are our key audience for today as well, because these people are actually the leaders of such transformations on scaled Agile in their companies. So that's good, Bjarne, having you today here. Also, we have Nia, also as a Scrum Master based in the United Kingdom with a limited SAFe knowledge. Again, guys, I guess that would be also very useful for you to join us today, because of course we won't cover, you know, the all within the scaled Agile framework, but surely we will get you an overview that can help you, you know, your journey and road with SAFe, and again, maybe enable your further learning. Yeah, so again, if you have any further questions during the webinar, just don't hesitate and put them into the chat. Why? Because we will be able, you know, to stop at some points during the slides and help you answer those questions, because again, they can be contextual, helping you with, you know, better understanding of what is SAFe and how it can be implemented. And maybe even you will have some your stories to share. Again, we don't have like hundreds of people today, so we'll be able, to make it even such very personal experience today. Also, let me read aloud a couple of other commands from you guys. So we also have Prerna. My current role is Scrum Master and based in Ireland. Little familiar with SAFe. So Prerna, great to see you here as well, because you're actually also a great audience for us today, because you will surely get the value out of that. Also, we have Artur, who is an IT specialist for Poland. No familiarity with SAFe, great. So I guess, again, IT is generally, scaled Agile framework is generally beneficial for our IT people. We have also Andreas from Sweden, head of product management and product owner. Oh, Andreas, great to see you here, because it's a very close, role to myself as well. And I will be sharing also some tips and tricks around the product management role within the scaled Agile framework. And Andreas has mentioned what to want to know more about SAFe, since we are growing from a startup to a larger company. So that's also a great use case, I guess, in that sense. Also, we have Babu, sorry if not pronounced incorrect, but project manager, Michigan, non-IT, limited SAFe knowledge. Again, we have cases when we have Agile implementations in non-IT companies, but again, maybe that would will be your, again, challenge to implement it in that kind as well, because, for example, we've seen implementation of SAFe in government organizations. Also, we have Sandra from Nuremberg. So been trainer and coach for 22 years. Sandra, that's great seeing you today as well. And especially because you have your camera on, and when we're having such webinars, it's always better to see your counterparts, your colleagues. So thank you for that. And guys, if you want to enable your camera, don't hesitate. Again, it would be great seeing you today as well. Again, Sandra is the Agile coach and facilitator. SAFe is new because ING didn't use it yet, I guess, because ING is quite a big company, and I assume that at some point you will be also benefiting from that as well. Arthur also asked about the recording. Surely, Arthur, we will share both the recording and the presentation. Also, Katarina is from Poland. She is a project manager and newly trained Scrum Master. SAFe is new. Again, Katarina, thank you. This is something, I guess, that we can help you with today. Michal is also a project manager from Poland, with not too much knowledge on scaled Agile framework, which again, we'll be addressing today. And Shima from Malaysia. Oh, I guess it's late night for you, but thank you again for joining us today. You as a business analyst and product owner, again, very close to what I love and do for a lot of time during my professional life. And again, little knowledge about SAFe. Again, guys, I guess that should be very good for you today. So in terms of our agenda today, so what we are going to be talking about today, and guys, I want to just set a little bit of expectations today, so it's not kind of full training on scaled Agile framework, unfortunately. We won't be having, ability to cover all the concept, but what our goal is today is to lay the foundation of your understanding of what are the building blocks of scaled Agile framework, so you can go and learn it yourself, for example, through the website, through some books, which we will be sharing at the end of our today's presentations. And again, to give you the concept how the scaled Agile framework is different from, for example, the regular Scrum process, which we might have, in our companies and widely used, I would say. Yeah, and again, we will be also talking why SAFe is now becoming more popular, why, again, how its essential implementation looks like, and what specific meetings and roles do you have inside of that. I mean, if you're familiar with Scrum, you'll, I guess, recognize the agenda, which we are also reusing the same when you are learning Scrum, for example. Okay, and now let's start from the scaled Agile framework. Why? We won't spend too much time on that, but again, for those of you who are willing to understand why more and more, webinars, people, companies are talking about SAFe, it's important to see that. Because again, this is the question, right? Because why is, for example, SAFe better or, I don't know, more popular than any other framework? Let's talk about facts. We have this, state of Agile report. supplied to us by Digital AI. Pretty interesting reading. If you're again interested in Scrum and project management and Agile, just check it. I mean, it's not only about SAFe. SAFe is only a part of it, but it shows where Agile is growing. And what they are saying that if you are willing to scale Agile, they are actually asking their their respondents on what are you using? And we see that Scaled Agile framework is on the first place with the 37%. 19% don't know what they are using. Maybe it's not so interesting for them. Also, we have the Scrum of Scrums, Enterprise Scrum, Spotify model, which again had quite a lot of popularity. Large scale Scrum, which is less, and there were some talks about that. Nexus as well. But again, right, Scaled Agile framework is on the top list here. So just to keep ourselves as a great professionals and to keep ourselves up to date, it's good to know what is it, right? And that's why we gathered here today. For the third annual Agile at Scale report, it's a little bit, 2 years already. Actually, a little bit less because it comes at the end of the year, I guess. We see here pretty similar results, right? So Scaled Agile framework is at 33% when people are thinking about scaling Agile and Scrum. Some are using Scrum approaches, adding some scaling ceremonies, and parts to that. Custom developed approaches are here as well. Enterprise Scrum, you can see the rest on the screen. So what does it mean for us, right? That Scaled Agile framework, of course, helps us to do better as the company who are trying to implement really huge projects. So of course, if you are doing, a startup with a 10 people team, most likely you won't need Scaled Agile framework, right? Starting probably from 30 people, 30-ish plus, you will start considering basic level of implementations of Scaled Agile framework. And here what we see, right, that, of course, this is partially marketing materials taken from Scaled Agile framework. So you can take it with a grain of salt, but surely there is some of truth in that, right, of improvements that are provided by Scaled Agile framework. Again, just looking into the number of, how much enterprises adopted SAFe. So again, happier, more engaged employees, increased productivity, improvement in quality, faster time to market. I guess here we need to understand to what we are comparing that, probably to the home build or absence of the process at all. But again, I guess that's a pretty good win, especially if you are talking about multi-million projects, 100 million projects, right? Because Scaled Agile framework is actually tailored for such big engagements.
And just one comment from my side, Rom, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Just to illustrate, since we're consultants and we have different injection of SAFe, I may provide one of the examples about time to market from our client. And this is a product company. They are developing a software program for cloud systems, just to manage your cloud applications and cloud servers. So once we started to work with them, their cycle time, like the difference between time to market and cycle time, is the time during which your feature is in your backlog. So time to market, it's from idea to production. Meanwhile, cycle time from your backlog to production. And their cycle time was 45 days. After the transformation, their cycle time actually became 21 days. It's significant for that company. So from one hand, this is like marketing information, and you really find a lot of different case studies. This is a general numbers. Meanwhile, on our practice, on our cases, we have the success story from our clients, and we even have bigger numbers here. So this is really 4 main pain points with which actually Agile is working: time to market, quality of our products, productivity of our teams, and of course, engagement.
Okay, thank you, Alyona. Yeah, sorry, by the way, for stealing the scene for now, but that would be my part, and then I'll get the word back to Helen. So again, within the enterprises, what's happening, right? So personally, I've seen multiple banks, like largest Swiss banks, coming to scale the Agile framework. I mean, within my current company, which is EPAM, we've seen like numerous implementations, and I guess it's now becoming almost a standard, for large corporations when they are trying to scale themselves. Why? Because the standard is pretty well described. Again, you can see the slide from Scaled Agile Framework itself, right? So which companies are using that. And I would like to emphasize here that it's not only about, large enterprises, but also governments are using SAFe. And I guess that's also a good thing, because you see how the framework can be implemented for different cases. And for example, for my current client, which we are working with the Belgian American. Again, the company was bought by the American mother company. So they are also using Scaled Agile Framework. So it took for them basically to get into that point. So they tried to build their homebrew, I guess, variants of the Scaled Agile Framework. So they just added a little bit of scale in here and there, but eventually we transformed into SAFe. Yeah, and we got all like certified with SAFe and stuff like that. And it works pretty well now. So we are doing our releases like every Tuesday now. After that, I mean, it's not only SAFe, of course, but that helps us a lot. Helped us a lot as well. Yeah, I guess back to Helen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's be honest that the theory and the practice, it may be different things. Meanwhile, we will start with the theory, and we will start with the answering on the question, what? What is SAFe? What is Scaled Agile Framework? And according to the definition, this is a knowledge base. Actually, this is the wiki with proven integrated principles and practice, and they all packed in one framework, and you may use them. The best practices in order to achieve business agility from Lean, from Agile, from DevOps at scale, from system thinking. So all best practices are packed in one framework. And you really may use it also as a wiki, as a knowledge base, simply going on the side, clicking on any icon you would love to, and you will see some article, definition, and even reading list in order to go on with your experience here. This is how actually SAFe looks like. It may be the simplest configuration as essential SAFe, and during our today webinar, we are going to dive into details with essential SAFe configuration. It may be portfolio SAFe, which you see at the moment on the screen, or large scale solution, or maybe full SAFe. So simply clicking on different tabs on the side, you will find your own configuration. The configuration will really depend on your business. The company side, how many teams you have inside, what actually your restriction, are you responsible for the portfolio, for budgeting, for the value streams, for business model itself, or no? So there are plenty of different questions to reply in order to choose your really best configuration. Now, I guess it's the most important time of this webinar, because we will explain what is SAFe based on Scrum. We hope you're all familiar with the Scrum. If not, please just type into the chat that I have no idea what is Scrum, but we rely on experienced audience here. And then we will tell a few words about the Scrum. Meanwhile, we assume that you're familiar with the Scrum. So just a few words to remind you about the Scrum. We have our lovely Scrum team. We definitely have additional roles as a product owner, person who is responsible for our product, for our backlog, prioritization. We have the Scrum Master, the person who is the coach for our team, who is responsible to make our team be more efficient, to coach them, develop, help to grow their maturity level. And of course, the developers, people who are doing actually the work. And they all our Scrum team. They have the backlog, all great ideas, what to implement in our product. And they are working with this PDCA cycle, which you will see in Scrum Guide. Plan, do, check, and adjust. We have the sprint iteration interval. According to the Scrum guide, it may be up to 1 month, typically 1 to 2 weeks. And you have sprint planning, execution part with the do, with having your daily stand-ups, and check and adjust. You have sprint review with the demo, and of course, sprint retrospective. This is like very familiar thing for you. Now you're lucky, and instead of 1 team, up to 10 developers, you have 10 teams and up to 100 developers. What we're going to do? We will use the same principle, PDCA cycle, but we will scale it up. So we will have Unite backlog, program backlog, with high-level ideas. They will be named as the features in SAFe. Those ideas lately will be decomposed by product management, by product owners into user stories, and will go to necessary team backlogs. We will have additional roles with the same idea. On the team level, we have product owner. Here we are going to have product manager. Product owner will be responsible for the team backlogs, for user story. Meanwhile, product manager will be responsible for vision, strategy, high-level actually requirements here. We have Scrum Master, and I see, thank you very much for your questions. What does it mean, RTE? We have Release Train Engineer. This is the Chief Scrum Master. Actually, this is the coach for our 10 teams. While Scrum Master will be focused for 1 or maybe few teams, meanwhile, RTE will be focused on all our teams here. It may be up to 10 or even more, up to 125 people on the train, Agile release train. It's interesting with the team as it is, because according to the team, here on the team level, we will have ART, Agile Release Train. So all those 10 teams will be named as ART, Agile Release Train. And we have additional technical role, System Architect. Since on scale, we need to put it separately, we need to have technical guidance. And all those people are going to do the same plan, do, check, and adjust cycle, PDCA cycle. On the team level, we have small cycle, 1 to 2 weeks, sprint or iteration. Here on the teams level, program level, our cycle may be from 2 to 3 months. You will choose it, up to you, up to your business. We have big planning. It's called PI planning, program increment planning. We all will explain you with detail just a few minutes later. Then we have this execution with proper sync-ups. As here in Scrum, you have stand-ups. Here you will have product owners sync-ups and Scrum of Scrum. And of course, we have this check and adjust part. We have inspect and adapt workshop, on which we will check on the system demo what actually were achieved, plan versus actual delivery, and of course, we will perform the retrospective and problem-solving workshop. So the same idea, the same approach, but just on scale. And this approach with the program level, this is very simplified, essential SAFe version of SAFe. It may cover from 50 to 125 people. Why lower level is 50? Because less, it will be too expensive. Each process has this price in order to conduct all events. So if you have less than 50 people, it's better to use simpler frameworks. And top level is 125. If you have more, you're a lucky one. You have, for example, 200 developers or even more, 20,000 people as Post Office of Australia, the largest case of SAFe. Then you will have few such arcs, few such levels. Let's go deeper. So those 2 levels, team and program level, will reply on the question how we're working. What about mechanic inside? What events we should have? What roles? What artifacts? But what about the subject, the topic? What we actually were doing? What about the governance? And here we have additional level, which named as portfolio level. This level will be responsible for budgets, we must allocate them. This level will have the general portfolio backlog. There will be suited very huge initiatives, 6 months or even more, which will be distributed between different arts, for example, Agile Release Train. And we have very clear initiatives life cycle. This portfolio Kanban board. When we have the funnel, all great idea are welcome here. We have review part when our portfolio management team are making the decision. Is this a good idea? Is it worth to be invested in analysis part or no? We're going to tweak it. We have a quite deep analysis with lean business case, with having go-no-go decision, and of course the development part. And the ideas for the development should be taken from a portfolio backlog stage, not from this review stage. In this case, we will have just enough analysis in order to provide the requirements for our teams. So this is just few words, very, very simplified review of a portfolio SAFe version. We will dive into essential SAFe. Let's take a look in details what actually inside here, and we'll compare our program level with all those roles and all events and what actually happening there. So we will start with the question for the team. Let's try to compare what will change for our team. One case, they worked with regular Scrum, which you definitely know pretty well, and you started to work with SAFe. So first thing here is synchronization. We must synchronize all our team. This is really needed in order to have this coordination point and to have ability one team to give to another necessary work. If we have not synchronized sprints, start and stop, then there will be quite long waiting time. Because, for example, team A needs something from team B, but team B is in the middle of their current iteration, and team A must wait till their iteration will be finished and then provide the necessary information. Then they have the feedback, and as a result, we spent about 3 sprints. If we have this synchronization point, we may just align everything at one day during the sprint planning. The next part, which will be changed for our team, is of course common events, because we are adding additional events, we are adding additional meetings. And this is actually the contribution from our team. This is the price which we have to pay in order to have some benefits, and we just talked about the benefits with 4 main pain points, like time to market, productivity, quality of our product, and of course the team's engagement. So all of your teams should plan together. They should do the system demo together, and they should learn together. This is additional events which we'll also review just in a few seconds. So how our teams are going to conduct those events and actually what is needed here. Let's take a look on the roles.
Yeah, guys, and let me chime in here on the roles, because I've seen questions on that topic we've had in chat. So Sandra asked about what does a release train engineer mean? Actually, release train engineer is, that would be a very bold analogy, but something to the program manager, I guess, or a project manager of a multiple teams. What actually, so that's a release train engineer.
Or delivery manager, very typical.
Yeah, or delivery manager. Yeah, I know it might be a little bit misleading that it's called engineer, right? Because we usually, we expect engineer to write code, right? Which is not the case here. And release train engineer is actually a chief scrum master, as said by Helen, right? This is a person who is actually like managing other scrum masters within the teams below, who like under his supervision. So that's his main role. He also actually is responsible as a project manager as well for the success of the project. However, he is not sole in his role, right? So there is a release train engineer, but he is again from the project management perspective. Then we have the next role. That's the product manager. And this is again why I was saying, right, that product managers are very important in scaled agile framework. And I guess this is one of the first frameworks that actually did describe product management separately. And I think, Andreas, this is also for you, because if you are looking into implementation of SAFe, this is the role for you, right? The product management and the key product manager in scaled agile framework, he is actually responsible for what gets built. He defines the vision, the roadmap. He kind of sets the direction on what will be in terms of our features on our program backlog. And it's not our team backlog, but the program backlog, which is a larger artifact. Also, he is kind of overseeing product owners who are working on each separate team. So, right, you have a product manager and then you have product owners. They might report to product manager, right? So that's kind of his department of product owners who are working with each team and they are reporting to him. Or that might work different, but again, that is depending on the organization. For example, for my current engagement with the client, we do have this reporting line. So product owners do have a solid line reporting into the product manager of the company. So who actually drives the strategy of our product. And again, this is very good because I've seen numerous times when we had issues with this approach, right? When we had a program manager who was the product manager, the project manager, a little bit architect, and all the rest, right? And that was, of course, very hard to fit into the single role. So that's why Scaled Agile Framework states that you need to have the release train engineer who actually covers the project management stuff, and you have the product managers who is covering the parts on the product strategy and its development and why it should be valuable for users, what value it actually brings, and he focuses on various backlogs for our product. Then you have this system architect, which is again a very lovely role, I think. And we, for example, again, in my existing client, we evolved to that point. Usually when you are building a very large system or again, an ecosystem of multiple systems and using scaled agile frameworks, you have an architect here, there, and here, and there, like multiple architects for all those pieces of software you are developing. In Scaled Agile Framework, you have a luxury of having this system architect, right? Or system engineer, the key guy who is actually overseeing the architectural strategy. And he actually drives all other architects and again, helps them to coordinate among themselves. So your system is not kind of a zoo in terms of technologies, in terms of approaches, in terms of patterns and stuff like that. So that's very useful. And again, I've seen also very good results when you're having this role. You know, the system architect, he really helps you to manage, you know, the approach as well. So the next role, which might be again quite weird for you hearing the first time, so don't be scared. So this is Agile Release Train. Again, guys, yeah, you might ask, train is a role, how come that be, right? How can train be a role? But again, that's very simple, right? Because that's, I would say, overarching concept that Agile Release Train is simply a set of teams with multiple teams like working into that. So for example, you have 5 teams working in some directions, in some single direction for your product. So they will be an Agile Release Train. So they will be called like that. Agile Release Train, I don't know, billing, for example. Yeah, they will be working on billing systems for your product. Again, that's good to understand because a lot of concepts then are built on this Agile Release Train idea here. Yeah, and again, this concept is, I guess, if you are familiar with Scrum, is also quite familiar for you as well. That within the Agile Release Train, you need to have all needed roles and expertises to complete your product features. I guess you've heard it multiple times if you read the Scrum guide or various Scrum books or trainings where you had to have this competency on your team. But Scaled Agile Framework is a little bit I guess, better here in that sense, because we are saying that no, you don't have to have the specific professional in each team. For example, the security engineer, right? You can have a separate team of security engineers, and they can work for your agile release train, and they can do the security work for your agile release train. So, which is again quite good. And yeah, if you read, actually go to the website of Scaled Agile Framework, you can read even more explanations on that. Other roles, which are, I guess, also as well important, because I don't know, if you tried to establish your own scaling approach, you kind of was like, where do I stick that role? Like how it works with other roles. So Scaled Agile Framework has it sorted out. So business owners, for example, these are key stakeholders who are responsible for outcomes for the product on this release train. Business owners can be different roles, so these can be product managers, product owners, they can be actually business owners or some department heads, but I guess that's important for you to know that they are there. And yeah, system team, that's again assists in building the agile environment, right? Maybe a little bit of DevOps-ish, I would say, concept, also enabled and implemented in Scaled Agile Framework. Again, I think most of us already have DevOps teams, but here it is a separate concept that is described how it works and what is expected out of it. Because yeah, it's also a role. Additional concept, I think, again, this is not about roles maybe, but about things which SAFe tackles differently, I guess, compared to other approaches, right? And if we go to previous slide, again, the thing I personally, as you know, as a product manager, business analyst, like the most is customer centricity and design thinking is actually built into Scaled Agile Framework. So it's not just a project management framework. It's a framework about building great products, right? And customer centricity is not just a loud concept that is described in SAFe. It is having specific tools and approaches. There are like embroidered within the whole framework that help you to concentrate on user value at every step. You can actually, again, guys, we don't have like really all the time in the world to explain it today here, but this customer centricity along with design thinking, they help you to focus on what really user needs, what really business needs here. And it again goes through the backlogs and through the validation cycles, again through the hypothesis validations throughout the framework. So again, if you want to know a little bit more about that, we can discuss it later. Actually, you can chat us maybe even on Meetup or in LinkedIn, so we can help you later with that. But still, I think, I'm sorry for spending too much time on that slide, but that's my passion. So I like that about SAFe. Yeah, and going back to the previous slide on the architectural runaway, and also that's a smaller passion of mine, but still I like it. Why? Because I've seen numerous times when we worked with our clients and we kind of skipped the tech debt, right? Technological debt. So we had like architectural work piling up for years. I mean, like for years, literally. So we didn't do anything with that. And our product was like crumbling and like was falling under its own weight. And it was hard to address it because like, you know, business said, you know, I don't want your architectural stuff like spend money for, I need business features. And that was, you know, the discussions we had. So architectural runaway in Scaled Agile Framework is actually the concept that helps business to understand that we constantly work on our architecture and constantly work on our technological depth, and you know that our system is scalable in future and we can effectively work with it. Again, not too much time for that to spend, but yeah, important to look into that. Yeah, and again, the customer centricity, I already mentioned that that's part of my passion within the Scaled Agile Framework. But again, you are motivated, right, within the SAFe, right, with the understanding customer needs. So it is actually in the SAFe. You are trying to think and feel as a customer. You are building the whole product, so you need to understand dependencies. You need to understand the customer journey, right? Like how he uses your product through the lifetime and how it is like again embedded into the features which you're developing within your product. So again, for those guys of you who are like close to product management, business analysis, maybe user experience, there is also a huge place in SAFe for that. Yeah, sorry, back to Helen.
Yeah, thank you, Roman. So here you may see that there are a lot of additional roles which actually help people to focus on necessary things. And as Roman mentioned, on scale, it's very simple to lose our client, to forget for whom actually we're doing our software, because it's huge enterprise who is care about end user. That is why SAFe really put our end user here in the middle. You may see it in the center and pays a lot of attention to it. Now let's take a look on additional events. What actually meetings we should conduct in order to organize everything? Because good, we have necessary people, we have additional roles, we have some additional practice here. So how we should organize them? And this is very useful slide as for me, because it explains the logic internal of Scrum and compare it to additional program level. So all ceremonies which you have in our Scrum, we just scale. Here you have iteration planning. We're going to discuss with UPI planning, program increment planning. We have daily stand-ups. Here you have Scrum of Scrums and product owner sync-ups. You have iteration review. We have system demos, and we have inspect adapt workshop. The same you have product backlog refinement, PBR. We have whole innovation planning iteration in order to prepare for our next planning. Let's take a look on the PI planning, program increment planning. Actually, this is the heart of the SAFe. And the creators of it, they mentioned that if you're not doing PI planning, you're not doing SAFe. So this is really the crucial thing. This is must have. Without it, you cannot say that you are doing SAFe. This is a photo of real PI planning. And before pandemic, before the COVID, they insisted a lot on face-to-face communication, on one room where all 125 people gathered together on the table, as you may see on the screen. This is really a lovely time, and unfortunately with the COVID, we're all in remote mode at the moment. However, still, it's really required that all our teams were focused together on our planning. In this case, we really may have the necessary benefits as fast decision-making, collaboration, communication, managing the dependency, and managing the risk. One of the biggest advantage of the SAFe, it provides you guidance for all single steps. So not only the concept like be agile, respect the people, but also very clear steps. You should do this, this, and this. And then you may adjust them. This is typical agenda for 2 days PI planning. Again, you may adjust it according to your needs, and I will share some tips and tricks from my experience how to adjust it. Let's take a look. So day one, we will start with business context. This is the time when our C-level, CEO of the company or business representatives will provide us what actually going on the market, what about our competitors, how we're doing, what about our product. This is crucial thing, because on scale, I very often see the teams just out of this business context. They're concentrating on software development, on writing the code itself without thinking about the product, without thinking about the market. And this business context is really crucial for the teams to understand what actually going on. The second part, this is our product management 5 minutes of fame. They're representing their features. Okay, we heard our business context. But what does it mean in terms of the software requirements or any other task? If you're not a software development company, you may simply use the same tasks and goals for the teams. And here we have feature presentation. This is our top 10 features. We expect you teams to deliver them in the next 2 or 3 months. Please tell us, is it real? Then the architect part. The system architect present their enablers, technical tasks which also must be implemented. Just one remark to the roles that typically we may have more than one product manager, more than one architect. This is just the roles. Meanwhile, RTE, I recommend to have one person who is doing this role, because I saw the cases when multiple person conduct this RTE roles, and it's really a mess, honestly. So that is why with product manager and with architect, they may be more than one person on this role, and they present their plans. Next thing, RTE will provide the guidance. Okay, teams, you have the context, you have the vision. Now let's do the planning. And they are going to do the team breakouts. Team breakouts are very similar to standard product backlog refinement and sprint planning, some kind of mix, which you have in Scrum. So they are taking these top 10 features, they probably already decomposed into user stories, and they try to plan them on next 2 months. Are they going to achieve those goals or no? At the end of the first day, teams present their draft plans. Okay, you mentioned 10 features, but unfortunately only 5 are going to be completed because this is our capacity. And this is the feedback from the teams. So very important communication, top down, from business, from product team, from architects. We expect you to deliver this, and bottom up. Sorry, but the capacity is this one. We're not going to deliver more than that. This is the feedback. At the end of first day, management review and problem-solving workshop is happened. Management would like to, actually will have to decide if from 10 features, we're going to deliver only 5. What we're going to do? Reduce the scope, change the priority, switch the teams, completely up to them. Second day, we have planning adjustment from management, and we're finalizing our plans on the team breakout. After it, we have final plan review. We're working on the program risk and have this confidence vote when teams are taking the commitment that they are going to deliver it. For the rest of the, for all of the arc, we are doing retrospective. How those 2 days actually were for us. What we are going to improve or do differently next time. If one of the team, and with the first PI planning, to be honestly, typically one team has some issues. So if some of the teams didn't plan, then we have the buffer, at least half of the day to plan properly. So again, this is typical agenda, and you may adjust it up to your need. What I typically adjust, of course, this part wouldn't take such a long time, typically 1.5 hours. All additional time which we're going to have team breakouts will definitely take. And program risks also may be done quicker than for 1 hour. So different adjustment may be done here, and this is the role of RTE, release train engineer, our chief scrum master, to facilitate it, to conduct. And this is really big challenge to facilitate the event for 125 people. In order, if you have distributed teams or remote teams, this adjustment must be applied to your standard PI planning agenda. The main idea that the common events as a business context, product vision, architecture vision must be done on common time zones. Meanwhile, team breakouts may be done separately. And in case of remote planning with distributed teams, you will have PI planning during at least 3 days, even more, depends on your time zones. For example, one of our clients, we have teams in USA, in Ukraine, and India. And we have up to 1 hour in common. So yeah, we're a lucky one. And it was really huge challenge here. So it really, guys, depends on your business context, on your teams, and the main rule here, we respect each other and we respect the private time, because this is crucial. We cannot expect people from other location to work midnight. It's ridiculous. What actually, I guess, the most useful tool I would like to recommend here, like in case if you would not use SAFe, but still this tool I think you may use. This is the program board. And this is the dependency board where you may see the different iterations, the different teams, and how they're related. What features we're going to deliver when, and what dependency we have here. Very simple visualization. Meanwhile, it provides you transparency. And just looking on such board with your teams will help you to manage the dependency, reduce unnecessary communication, and avoid these bottlenecks and delays in your teams. There may be plenty of different tools to use it, like Miro, like Big Picture, plugin for Jira if you use it. So completely up to your task tracking system, which exactly tool to use. But program board really provides you very good dependency management tool. Program risks. Another thing which we actually address during PI planning, this is program risk management. And SAFe provides its own approach, which called ROM. We just identify the main risk on program level, and then we'll choose one of 4 strategies for them. Result. You are going to do something, and this risk wouldn't be valid for you anymore. For example, there was the risk that the server will be down and you migrated everything to cloud. So for now, this risk is not actual for you. This is resolved. Own it. Somebody took the responsibility. You have new platform or new technology, your team didn't work with it before, you have the risk that team has no knowledge. Then your architect may say, don't worry, I will own your risk because I worked with it. So it means that the architect owns this risk. Accept it. Okay, it may happen, but we wouldn't do anything with this. We just accept it. You may use this strategy in case of low impact on your plans or maybe low probability of this risk. For example, the risk of firing person, that the person will leave your team. You may just accept it because you are not HR or you do not have this people management authority here, and you're not going to do, you cannot do anything. And mitigate it, you have planned to adjust something in, if this risk happened. At the end of PI planning, while everything is worked correctly, each team has its own PI objectives, the goals. The same thing which you have with a sprint. During sprint planning, you have this sprint goal for the team. Here, the same approach. We have each team, as you may see, they have their own goals, and after PI planning, they are united, they're aggregated into one program PI objectives. So we see the input of each team, how is visualized in our common PI objectives part. Once everything presented, we have confidence vote. Like we ask our team, are they confident with their plans? Which actually they just presented, or no. And they provide their feedback. 1, no, it's not real. 2, very little confidence. 3, looks like okay. 4, high confidence. 5, very high confidence. In case if team shows like 2 or 1, our team must ask what we may do in order to increase your confidence from 1 till at least 3. And this is the moment of action item of some very constructive problem solving. So please again use it. After it, retrospective, how we spend those 2 days, what we're going to do better next time. One thing to add here, of course, this is the phrase that develop on Cadence, release on demand. very famous, actually, thing which I heard about the SAFe, that SAFe is waterfall because you're releasing once per quarter. It's not true, sorry. SAFe doesn't mention that you are going to release once per quarter, once per 3 months. You are planning for 2 or 3 months, you are going to choose this, but you may release on demand. If you are Facebook and you have about 30 deploys per day, you're welcome. Provide those 30 releases. It's completely up to you. So you may release on demand of your business, of your product manager. Just to summarize, so we discussed PI planning as the heart of SAFe, and it's really the most popular event in SAFe. What other events you have? There's a Scrum of Scrums, Sync Up, System Demo, Preparation, and Inspect Adapt workshop. I will give you the brief also overview about them. So once we executed everything, at the end of our quarter, we're going to conduct Inspect Adapt workshop. This is additional event which is going to take about up to 4 hours, and it typically consists of PI system demo, when each of our team will demonstrate what actually they achieved, comparing to their initial PI objectives. Also, we will work with the metrics like what we plan and what we delivered. What is our achievement percentage here? There may be a variety of different metrics. Again, it's up to you and your business, like number of features planned with delivered, number of critical bugs, unit test coverage, new test cases creation. It really depends on your company. And retrospective. What actually issues we have, what we're going to work on our problem-solving workshop. And this is quite new event, which you probably are not familiar with. So this is additional event during which all teams will be working on one common problem for all our Agile release training. It conducts in 6 steps. So once we agree on problem to be solved, for example, we cannot rely on our commitments. Second step, we apply the root cause analysis, like 5 whys. Why we have this problem in terms of our process, our people, program, tools that we are using, environments, and teams actually generate a lot of different ideas. Why? After it, we apply Pareto analysis. Which root cause we see the most often? And this root cause most probably is the real reason. And we are working on it, but not just fixing the symptoms. So looks like our root cause for this not reliable commitments is simply insufficient architectural runway investment. So we should brainstorm what we should do here and how we should improve our architectural runway. And then we are adding the ideas to our backlog. The good question will be when we're going to do all those events, because we need to develop the product and we need to develop it a lot. And for this purpose, last iteration in SAFe will be a little bit different comparing to the standard development operation in Scrum. It's called IP iteration or innovation planning iteration. It has suggested schedule. Again, you may use it, you may adjust up to your needs. The main idea is that on one hand, this is a buffer for leftover work. Maybe your teams require more time for something. Maybe you have very complicated deployment process or release regression testing. Here you go, you have this time. Where you're going to prepare for PI, because next week we're going to have those 2 days and our Inspect Adapt workshop. We need to prepare to groom the stories, to discuss them with the teams, to provide high-level estimation. This is all the time for it. So last iteration in SAFe, it's a little bit different. It's the time just to stop and rethink how we're working. We really hope that you enjoyed this webinar. In case you like this topic, we would like to share some books where you may find more information about Scaled Agile framework and different approaches, different practices here. And of course, we will be very glad to see you on our online certified leading SAFe trainings, October 15 and 18, in online format with using collaborative tools. We're going to dive into details into SAFe. We're going to do PI simulation, so you will feel what is it to be the part of really huge enterprise and to conduct this PI planning. And now we really thankful for you to spend this hour with us. And in case if you have more questions, we're here as long as needed in order to cover all of them. And we'll be glad to see you on our next events.
Yeah, guys, any questions, just feel free to ask. Again, yeah, I know that the topic is actually quite large, and we encourage you to go and see, check, and try to explore the Scaled Agile Framework website by yourself. Again, it might be a little bit overwhelming from the initial point when I was out understanding where do you start. But still, if you want to, for example, dive deeper into those topics which we discussed today, you will definitely get this deeper understanding, I would say. And again, maybe if you are interested in specific aspects of the Scaled Agile framework, we are planning on conducting further webinars. Again, like you can join them and you can drive those topics. Just get back to us. We will ask you to leave a feedback. And if you are like willing to dive deeper into some specific topic on Scaled Agile framework, or maybe even Agile, just just write to us and we'll be happy to share it. Because again, we have some quite experience in that, and yeah, we hope to share it with you.
Okay. I see the feedback, a lot of thank you. So thank you guys very much. Please write directly to me, to Roman, and I guess the great idea from the Sandra to connect to each other. Please feel free. We will be more than glad that you will have this professional communication here, which is really valuable because this is about the community and your experience is really valuable here. So thank you again very much. Have an amazing evening and hope you will have a chance to try the SAFe.
Great seeing you guys. Thank you for being with us today. Have a great, what is Tuesday? Oh, right, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, Ingo,
we have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Please, you may simply unmute yourself and speak or type into chat, up to you. Okay, Ingo?
Ingo, you can unmute yourself. So we didn't do any like force mute. So if you just press unmute button, you can talk. But because now we are not hearing you if you're already trying to ask.
Yes,
yeah, now
sorry.
We see you. Great.
I'm joining on mobile, and that's why I'm like not getting into writing stuff. And thanks for the very good presentation and greetings from Germany. And yeah, I do have one question because I will start acting as a RTE in September. And I only have right now the leading SAFe certification, and I'm really pretty digging deeper into the whole material. Would you recommend doing the certification for an RTE and prior to gather the first experiences in being an RTE? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. So first of all, congratulations. Congratulations on a new role. This is really exciting. And we're really glad that you will have this chance. Up to me. So it really depends how comfortable at the moment you are with the current teams and company. If it's completely new role and new company and new teams for you, then having the more confidence definitely required. It may be the certifications for RTE, which is really valuable here. It may be the consultancy of mentoring from more experienced people who will help you. Of course, as a certified SAFe Agilist, you have the access to preparation checklist. Please use them. Honestly, they're very helpful. They're a little bit overloaded with the information, to be honest, but it's easier to remove something than to add, especially when you're not very familiar with this topic. If this company, like it's your lovely company, you have worked there for years and everything is well known for you, then I would rather recommend to conduct the first PI and then to dive into details with this role later.
All right. Actually, it's quite a huge automotive manufacturer, and I'm pretty new to it. I actually started keeping care of 2 Scrum teams in that art, and so I'm familiar with some things, and I don't know, I feel secure, but there are so many topics in the product development, the continuous delivery pipeline, and they already implemented. So just go and gather more information and stick with the agile empiricism. Is that what are you saying?
Well, let me please clarify. Are you going to conduct RTE role for all art or just 2 Scrum teams, as you mentioned, as a Scrum Master?
No, before I was the Scrum Master of 2 teams in the art, and now I'm switching to be the RTE for the whole. There are 12 teams in the art, so I will be doing the whole program for them. Yeah.
So, like again, for me, RTE certification is really valuable. In your particular case, the only question when. Because first you have very tiny deadline. We're talking about September. So sorry, but it's day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
I a little bit doubt that you will have enough time to spend for this certification just before. So taking this into account, my recommendation will be rather ask for more experienced colleagues and definitely use the checklist just to be 100% sure that you are safe and you have all necessary support. And is this company which performing PI planning the first time or no? They have done it before.
They implemented SAFe in that very art in September last year.
So they're experienced here. So this is very good factor for me because you will have less challenges comparing to the first time.
Yeah.
So my recommendation will be like additional mentoring if possible, and of course preparation with the checklist. After this, when you wouldn't have such tiny deadline, then take a look on RTE course.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And from my side, I would like just to add, Ingo, that mentoring is usually an option. For example, we are using it extensively in our company, for people who are experienced RTE, so you can find again an external guy who can help you with that, at least in some basic concept, so you don't need to like Google all the time. Yes, Sandra, thank you so much. Great seeing you today, and especially seeing, Ingo. And so I think that mentoring is also a very good option, especially in this, really narrow timeline. Thanks. Sorry.
Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Perfect.
Bye.
So if no other questions or any, guys, you're welcome. We're here to help you, to share our knowledge.
Okay.
If no,
Great.
then thank you very much again. Have a lovely evening. And in case if you will need any assistance with SAFe injection, Scrum injection, please feel free to contact us. We'll be more than happy to assist you with it.
Thank you, guys, and have a great evening. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.